You're standing at the stove, waiting for water to boil, 30 seconds, and somehow your phone is already in your hand. You don't remember reaching for it. You don't remember unlocking it. But there it is, glowing, ready. Why does that happen? Every single time. It's not a willpower thing. You're not weak. Your brain is running a 200,000-year-old program in the background, and your phone learned exactly how to hijack it. Let me paint it for you. Quick test. Think about the last 24 hours. Elevator going up 4 floors? Phone. Red light, 20 seconds? Phone. Standing in line for coffee? Phone. Sitting on the toilet? Definitely phone. Don't lie. We all do it. 5-second ad on Netflix? Phone in hand before the second. Every single one of those moments has the same shape. A tiny crack of empty time. And before your brain even labels it as boredom, your hand is already moving. A research firm called D-Scout actually counted. The average person taps their phone 2,617 times a day. Heavy users? Over 5,000. That's roughly 1 tap every 30 waking seconds. Today, I'm going to paint exactly what's happening in those 3 seconds of boredom, why your hand moves before you do, and why your phone is the perfect weapon built specifically for the soft spot in your brain. Here's the first thing nobody tells you about boredom. You think boredom is nothing happening. To your brain, boredom is an alarm. Think about it from your ancestors' point of view. 100,000 years ago, nothing happening was a problem. No food being hunted, no threat being tracked, no story being learned. Just silence. Silence didn't keep you alive. Movement did. So your brain evolved to make stillness feel bad. A little itchy, a little uncomfortable, a nudge that says, go find something. Anything. In 2014, a psychologist named Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia tested how far this nudge actually goes. He put people alone in a room. 15 minutes. No phone, no book, no music, no window. Just them and their own thoughts. In the corner of the room, a small button. Press it, and you get a tiny electric shock. Here's the wild part. Before the experiment, those same people had said they'd pay money to avoid that shock. So what happened? 67% of the men, 25% of the women, pressed the button anyway. One guy shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes. Read that again. People literally chose pain over being alone with their own minds. Because to your brain, boredom isn't peace. It's a low, dull ache. A signal that something is wrong and you need to fix it. And when something aches, what do? You reach for the painkiller. Your phone is the closest one in the world. Your brain treats boredom like pain. Your phone is the painkiller in your pocket. But wait, if your brain just wants an escape from boredom, why specifically the phone? Why not stare at a wall? Count ceiling tiles? Pet the dog? Because your phone isn't just an escape. It's a slot machine. Let me explain. You've probably heard that phones release dopamine. And you probably think dopamine is the happy chemical. It's not. Not exactly. Dopamine isn't the molecule of pleasure. It's the molecule of maybe. It doesn't fire when you get the reward. It fires when your brain expects a reward might be coming. And here's the part casino designers figured out 100 years ago. Dopamine doesn't fire hardest when rewards are guaranteed. It fires hardest when rewards are unpredictable. Scientists call this a variable reward schedule. It's the single most addictive pattern your brain can experience. A monkey that gets juice every time it pulls a lever? Mild interest. A monkey that gets juice sometimes? Randomly, unpredictably, it will pull that lever until its arm gives out. Now look at your phone. Every time you pick it up, what's waiting? Maybe a text from someone you love. Maybe nothing. Maybe a like on the post you cared about. Maybe nothing. Maybe a video that makes you laugh out loud. Maybe 10 boring ones. Maybe a message from the person you've been thinking about. Maybe nothing. Your brain doesn't know. And that not knowing, that's the entire hit. A neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz proved this with monkeys decades ago. The dopamine spike came before the reward at the moment of anticipation, not the moment of receiving, which means the rush isn't from what's on your phone. The rush is from the not knowing what's on your phone. That's why you feel a tiny zap when a notification lights up before you even read it. That's why you pull to refresh. Same exact motion as pulling a slot machine lever. Same exact chemistry. And here's the part that should make you a little angry. This wasn't an accident. The apps you use every day were designed by behavioral psychologists. Some of them literally came from the casino industry. They studied exactly how to wire your brain, and they built the perfect machine for it. You're not addicted to your phone. You're addicted to the maybe. Now here's the part that gets a little spooky. You're not actually deciding to pick up your phone. I know that sounds dramatic. Stay with me. Inside your brain, there's a tiny 3-step loop. Cue, routine, reward. The cue is the trigger. A 3-second silence, a pause in conversation, a flash of an uncomfortable thought. Anything that whispers, empty space ahead. The routine is the action. Hand into pocket, thumb on the screen, unlock, open app. The reward is the dopamine drip. The little maybe. Once, twice, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. After enough repetitions, your brain saves the routine like a shortcut on a desktop. It stops asking permission. The hand just goes. Researchers at Cambridge have actually watched this happen on brain scans. The motor signal that moves your hand toward your phone fires before the prefrontal cortex, the so-called decision center, even lights up. Read that again. Your hand starts moving before your conscious brain knows what's happening. That's why you don't remember reaching for it. There was nothing to remember. You weren't there yet. This is also why just have more willpower is terrible advice. Willpower lives in the prefrontal cortex, the part that arrives late. It's like showing up to a fight 3 rounds after the bell rang. Your hand isn't following your brain. Your brain is following your hand. Okay, here's the part nobody talks about, the part that actually matters. Every time you feel a 3-second silence with your phone, you're not just wasting time. You're switching off something irreplaceable. Inside your brain, there's a network called the default mode network, the DMN. It's what your brain does when you're doing nothing. You'd think doing nothing means the lights are off. Wrong. When your DMN switches on, your brain is busy. It's just busy with the deepest, weirdest, most you stuff there is. The DMN is where you connect old ideas into new ones. Creativity. The DMN is where you imagine your future self. Planning. The DMN is where you replay yesterday's conversation and finally understand why it hurt. Self-awareness. The DMN is where you mentally step into someone else's shoes. Empathy. The DMN is where memories get sorted, labeled, and saved properly. Without it, today just becomes blur. Now think about every famous aha moment in history. Newton under the apple tree, Archimedes in the bathtub, Einstein on long, slow walks. You know what they all have in common? They were bored. Their brains were idle. The DMN was running. And in that quiet, the answer floated up. Your phone doesn't just steal 3 seconds. It shuts the DMN off. Every red light, every elevator, every line, every shower thought you never have anymore. Each one was a tiny chance for your brain to do its real work, and you traded it for a clip of someone else's cat. A study at UC Irvine measured what happens after an interruption. The number is shocking. After your attention breaks, your brain needs an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to climb back into deep focus. So when you take a quick break with your phone, you're not resting. You're working overtime. Your brain hasn't been idle in years, and it desperately needs to be. Boredom isn't empty time. It's where your mind does its most important work. So here's the reframe that might actually change something for you. Most people treat boredom like a problem to solve. It isn't. Boredom is an invitation. It's your brain knocking on your shoulder and saying, "Hey, nothing's on fire. Want to come think for a minute?" But because your phone is right there, always right there, you say no. You hand the invitation to the algorithm every time. Watch a kid for 30 seconds. A bored kid will pick up sticks. Build a fort out of couch cushions. Talk to an imaginary friend. Invent a game with 3 rules and a backstory. A bored adult opens Instagram. What happened? Same brain, same boredom. Different reflex. We forgot. Somewhere between childhood and now, we got taught that every empty second has to be filled. That stillness is failure. That a quiet moment is a moment to fix. So here's what I want you to try. Not as homework, just as an experiment. Next time you feel that little 3-second gap, the elevator, the stoplight, the kettle, pay attention to your hand. Watch it lift. Feel the small pull, the faint discomfort. That little tug? That's not weakness. That's your brain trying to bring you home to yourself. Behind that uncomfortable feeling, there's something waiting. Your real thoughts, your real ideas, your real life. Your phone isn't stealing your time. It's stealing the part of you that gets bored. You don't need to delete your apps. You don't need a 30-day phone detox. You don't need to move to a cabin in the woods. Though, honestly, that sounds amazing. All I'm asking is one small experiment. Next time you're stuck in line, or waiting at a red light, or watching the kettle, just leave your hand where it is. Look around. Listen to something. Or nothing. It's going to feel uncomfortable. That's the point. That's your brain waking up. 30 seconds. You'll survive. I promise. And here's the strange thing. Sometimes, somewhere in those 30 seconds, something weird shows up. A random idea. A memory you forgot you had. A feeling you've been ignoring for weeks. That's your DMN saying, hey, welcome back. Your weird brain isn't broken. It just needs you to be a little bit bored. Painted simple. If you made it to the end of this video, instead of switching to TikTok halfway through your default mode network officially, thanks you. Subscribe to Painted Brain. Every week, I take one weird thing your brain does and paint it simple. The stuff nobody explains. The stuff you've felt your whole life, but never had words for. Hit that bell while you're at it. Your dopamine system will love it. Sorry, couldn't help it. I'll see you in the next one.